Tonight, a new national chief has been elected, and we get local reaction of how it will impact First Nations in northern BC. Plus, the Prince George Airport is taking steps to improve accessibility with a new program aimed at supporting passengers with a disability. And we speak to local toy stores about how they're navigating the holiday season, which is vital to their survival. Good evening, I'm Eddie Huband, and welcome to CKPG News. Our top story tonight, the Assembly of First Nations have elected a new national chief on Thursday. Tommy Osborne gathered local reaction and brings us this story.
Chief Cindy Woodhouse is the Assembly of First Nations' new national chief, but the road there wasn't a smooth one.
It was a contentious vote. I know that the other candidate who was leading in the polls decided to withdraw from the actual election, and that's where we got the national chief now being named. There's also concerns that were raised, or questions that were raised regarding the fact that she played a role in removing the previous national chief who was accused of bullying and harassment. But she did also acknowledge Roseanne Archibald in her victory speech and talked about how Roseanne had opened the way for there to be a female national chief in the Assembly of First Nations.
Representing more than 600 First Nations communities across the country, the national chief is a role of great importance and significance. But given the nature of the election, Sims expects some challenges ahead. He hopes to see National Chief Woodhouse work towards unity and creating an environment where every nation feels heard, among other big priorities like Bill C-53.
This is a bill that would recognize Métis Nation Alberta, Métis Nation Saskatchewan, and the Métis Nation of Ontario as Indigenous governments, potentially lead to a modern treaty with them. And one of the big issues that has existed is various First Nations being opposed to the bill. And again, there's reasons why they're opposed to the bill. I certainly understand that. But I think, if the bill goes forward or if the bill is defeated, I think one of the challenges he's going to face is kind of building those relationships or mending those relationships if people feel like they've been mistreated.
Comparable to the Prime Minister or a head of United Nations, others explain the national chief is expected to resolve a wide variety of issues, including resource management, archaeological digs taking over jurisdiction in traditional territory, truth and reconciliation, and more.
Their overall mission is to correct past and current injustices and to get their fair share and more control over land and resource development. The AFN advocates for a lot of different things on most communities from British Columbia right to the Maritimes.
Cindy Woodhouse hails from Manitoba and has been elected for a 3-year term. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
No, don't worry, your hearing is not going on, you folks. We had some technical difficulties with that pack. Unfortunately, the sound was a little bit messed up there, so apologies about that. Moving on, though, a new program has arrived at YXS. The Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Program will help support passengers with a disability or condition that might not be immediately apparent. Anna Burles was at the airport today to learn more about the program and tells us this story.
Travel can often be a stressful ordeal, but a new program has arrived at YXS that will help passengers like Amanda Sopel and her son Riley make traveling through YXS a stress-free experience. The Hidden Disabilities Sunflower Program will help passengers with a non-visible disability or condition and would need a little extra help, time, and understanding while at the airport by wearing a sunflower lanyard.
It allows us to be respectful of everybody's individual situation, and for a lot of our passengers that are starting their journey here and maybe connecting at another airport, they get to start here with the sunflower lanyard that they can take with them for the rest of their journey.
Amanda's son Riley has autism, and having that extra time and understanding can make Riley's experience at the airport a whole lot better.
Ways that he might be impacted in the airport, for example, would be if the space is crowded, if there's a lot of people talking, he might need some preloading of information to understand the processes that he's going to go through, because that will help decrease a lot of his anxiety around traveling.
Amanda says that the program will help her family as past experiences with travel have not been easy for them.
Airports have kind of been inaccessible for our family in terms of travel. They can be, the environment can be overstimulating, it can be noisy, crowded, which can all cause a lot of sensory overwhelm for people like Riley.
Knowing that the Sunflower program is in place at YXS can help decrease the anxiety for Amanda's family when traveling.
To know that there's this program in place that can support us and we can reach out even ahead of time to connect with the airport, and they'll provide us some support and accommodations where we need it. It lets us know that this is an okay option for us and that we can, feel safe and supported in this environment.
Travelers with a non-visible disability can request a free Sunflower lanyard at the check-in counters, security desk, or information booth at YXS. Other airports across Canada that are a part of the Sunflower program include Vancouver, Calgary, and Toronto. Adam Burles, CKPG News.
Each year, the capital plan is presented to City Council during the budget process in January, but things are a bit different this year as the plan has been put forward early. Council is usually presented with a long list of potential capital projects. Some of the projects include replacing the chiller at Copar Memorial Arena, as well as a $2.1 million investment for the Elk Center Arena refrigeration plant system. But two other projects in particular were singled out to get a head start on procurement this year.
So what was presented yesterday was the draft 2024 funded capital projects. And what we asked the Finance and Audit Committee to do at that meeting is to give us the go-ahead to start procurement practices, at least get that going to avoid the bottleneck of so much happening at the start of the new year once Council gives the go-ahead. So we do the contracts, we have the bids, we just don't sign on the dotted line until Council officially gives us the go-ahead in January. There are two projects that went for debt funding. One was a lift station and the other is our stormwater renewal project. And so those were too big to finance with our reserves, so we're asking to go to debt with it. For there will be, eventually, if that's approved at Council, there'll be one more report that comes that says, what kind of elector assent process do you want? Do you want a referendum or do you want the alternate approval process?
There was a special presentation recently for all the senior centers in town, but the rationale for it is not appreciated by seniors in the community. Cheryl Jan explains.
I'm pleased to give you a check for $3,500.
It was a day of giving recently for the Prince George Community Foundation. The target this year, all 6 senior centers in the city.
We know that there is a need, especially in Prince George, for all of them to receive additional support. I know they rely on donations to continue on with their programming, and that's not always the easiest way to, it's not always easy for them to get donations. So we thought that this was a great opportunity to support the seniors in Prince George, which are, really pivotal to our community.
The North Central Seniors Association was one of the many organizations to receive gaming grants in the past.
We used to get $25,000 and we went down to 22, 21, I think 18, 15, 10,000, 5,000, 2,000. And then all of a sudden, nothing. We worked many hours, many days to fill those applications in, and we got nothing for 2 years in a row, so we just quit applying.
Maurice Lapointe says the money from the grants went to a very important cause.
We were applying for grants for Meals for Seniors for our organization, and now we have to go out and ask organizations and companies and people to help us out with that so we can have our meals at the price that's reasonable for seniors. So this coming from Mindy today is absolutely a blessing.
And he says when the numbers diminished year over year, it was a sick feeling.
Well, your heart kind of falls through your stomach, and now we got to start chasing money from different grants that are easier, that are, like you can get a little simpler, I guess, if you want to say that.
And it's the same story for all seniors community organizations.
I've been working hard, especially on the Meals on Wheels program, talking to the minister directly, talking to the staff in the Ministry of Health, and making the argument that it needs to be funded. It needs to be a core program, not based on the ability to pay by a seniors organization.
Shirley Bond says she's met with the seniors organization and knows the distress they are under with the lack of funding. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
Turning to federal politics now, MPs in Ottawa have been on a marathon of sorts as the House gets ready to wind down for the holidays Adam Burles joins us now to discuss the latest on what's going on in Parliament. So, first of all, Adam, I want to ask you this. MPs have been in the House for nearly 24 hours at this point. What's the situation right now?
Yeah, it's a very interesting situation right now. Yes, so as you mentioned, MPs have been in the House in Ottawa for about 24 hours now, give or take. Essentially, the official opposition, the Conservative Party, is forcing delays in pushing some legislation through by prompting a number of votes in the House. So there's about 135 of these votes, hence why they have been in the House of Commons for nearly 24 hours. There's been vote after vote after vote that has had to be voted on by all parties, and most of them on budgetary estimates. The government has put forward some budgetary estimates for certain programs, certain spending initiatives, and the federal opposition does not want these estimates to be voted on, passed, I mean.
So it's essentially a filibuster of sorts.
Yes, I was just going to say, if you're familiar with the U.S. filibuster system, this is essentially a Canadian filibuster.
Why are the Conservatives forcing these delays?
So this is all, so as I mentioned, they're forcing votes on budgetary estimates, but that's not the main issue here. The main issue is the Conservatives were promised before this voting session happened to stall the Liberal government's legislation because of the carbon tax. As we've talked about before on the show, the federal Liberals have kind of carved out carbon tax exemptions for certain areas of the country, including Atlantic Canada, but many areas of the country, including BC, have not been part of those exemptions. The federal Conservatives say this is unacceptable, so therefore we're going to stall legislation from moving forward by forcing these votes to push the government to force more carbon tax exemptions.
Is there any precedent for this happening?
So, yeah, this has happened before in the past. Most famously, I would say, was back in 2019 with the SNC-Lavalin affair. We pretty much all remember that. That was a very big scandal at the time. Federal Liberals under Andrew Scheer at that point used this filibuster type measure to stall legislation from being passed. And of course, this time of year, legislation is trying to get through before the winter recess, before MPs go back on break. And the Conservatives had said they're going to try and ruin the Liberal MPs' Christmases by pushing these votes through and stalling legislation. Therefore, MPs sitting in the House for hours on end, voting, fast food in the House, lots of, yes, fast food had to be brought in, lots of members falling asleep, so because they've just been there for so long. So I'm sure those MPs, when they do get a chance to leave, they will be looking forward to getting home for Christmas. Yes, fresh air indeed.
Right, very interesting stuff. A wild day in Parliament.
Indeed.
Adam Burles on the Politics Beat. Thank you very much, Adam. Moving on, the holiday season is quickly approaching, and Canada Post is already into its busy peak season here in Prince George. Postal workers bring you and your community festive mail during the holiday seasons, but slippery paths and seasonal decorations can be hazardous. As such, Canada Post is urging homeowners and businesses to ensure safe deliveries by maintaining clear paths, removing snow and ice, and applying sand or salt around walkways, driveways, and mailboxes. Numerous small businesses throughout the year often hinges on the holiday season's impact on overall profitability. Now, toy stores are among the small companies planning to meet customers' expectations months in advance. Dave Branco spoke to 2 local toy stores and brings us the story.
Cameron Stoltz, owner of Great White Toys, and Nancy Condon, owner of Gingerbread Toys, are busy filling their shelves with stock they ordered several months ago. They hoped their customers would buy them as gifts for the holiday season.
Some of it's been ordered as far back as February, and now we're trying to see if we guessed right on whether that's what the customers are interested in. Some of the items are really easy to guess on. Lego is always a perennial favorite. People are always looking for a cool Lego gift for their loved ones. And when I say loved ones, I'm not just talking young children. Lego very much now is targeted at the adult market. That's a huge portion of who the Lego sets are going to now.
We do sell a lot of basic traditional toys, so there's a little pressure to get some of the newer items of those lines in, and we do need to know ahead of time, kind of in our own heads, what might sell.
Social media holds substantial sway over the purchasing preferences of certain customers for Stoltz.
With the influencers on TikTok, on Instagram, showing these cool new toys or games or whatnot, then we have to try to figure out if we can still source them. Even though they're popular out there, we may not have even heard of them until they showed up on TikTok.
And that's one of the problems when we're going to buy the games and the toys. We don't know what's going to be influenced or what influencers are going to take off at Christmas.
Nancy discovered that sending customers a toy catalog assists them in making decisions ahead of the busy period.
It's our little mini wish book that comes out in November, and it goes out to our mailing list, so people get to use the coupon that's on it. That's in November, of course, that's past, but it does come in looking pretty ragged with all the little circles from all the kids circling what they want.
Both owners suggest coming into the stores in person to explore the available options.
The advantage of coming in is maybe you can find something that's almost as good as what you're looking for, or maybe something else that's just as cool or cooler that you hadn't thought of because it wasn't in your news feed.
I think probably you don't want to wait till the last minute. Right now we have lots to choose from, and it's probably good to get in here as soon as possible.
Dave Branco, CKPG News.
This week on Entertainment Spotlight, we're continuing on our Christmas theme, but today we're going deep into the vault for a 1946 classic, It's a Wonderful Life, starring James Stewart and Donna Reed.
You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
This is a little bit of a darker turn here on Entertainment Spotlight. This classic Christmas film centers around George Bailey, played by Stewart, a desperately frustrated businessman in some financial and legal troubles, contemplating suicide, who's given up his personal dreams in order to help others in his community. But when his thoughts of suicide culminate in an attempt to jump off a bridge on Christmas Eve, it brings about the intervention of his guardian angel, Clarence Oddbody.
I told you I'm your guardian angel. I know everything about you.
Well, you look about like the kind of an angel I'd get.
Clarence shows George all the lives he's touched and what the world would be like if he didn't exist.
Your brother, Harry Bailey, broke through the ice and was drowned at the age of 9.
That's a lie. Harry Bailey went to war. He got the Congressional Medal of Honor. He saved the lives of every man on that transport.
Every man on that transport died. Harry wasn't there to save them because you weren't there to save Harry.
In the end, George begs Clarence for his life back. The original reality is restored, and he rushes home to find his financial and legal issues have been solved by his family.
Get me back! I don't care what happens to me! Get me back to my wife and kids! Help me, Clarence, please! Please! I want to live again!
This is widely regarded as one of the greatest Christmas films ever made, and for that matter, one of the greatest films in any genre. It's a heartwarming and impactful movie with the kind of values you just don't see in cinema anymore.
Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
That's right. That's right. Attaboy, Clarence.
This one's a bit of a tough movie to find, but if you're interested, you can rent It's a Wonderful Life on Amazon Prime and Apple TV for just $4.99. The lowest gas price in Prince George is currently sitting at $1.49.9 a liter at Costco. The lowest price in the province right now is in Quesnel at $1.48.9 a liter. Alberta currently has the lowest fuel prices on average in the country at $1.25.7 a liter, while BC has an average price of $1.65.6 per liter.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Feed your team tonight with a delicious mix and match combo. Chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
The Prince George Cougars kick off a two-game set against the Victoria Royals tonight. Anthony Correa caught up with Cole Waldy, voice of the Prince George Cougars, earlier today to break it all down.
Prince George Cougars taking on the Victoria Royals Friday and Saturday. For more on the weekend series, we bring in Cole Waldy, voice of the Prince George Cougars. Cole, let's start with Prince George getting a big addition to their lineup. Carlin Dezane expected to make his debut from his injury this weekend. Maybe tell me a little bit about what this boost does for the Cougars lineup here.
Yeah, I mean, he has 14 points in 11 games, so I think that kind of speaks for itself. A lot of speed, obviously. He's back way ahead of schedule. I think this was supposed to be a long-term injury, and it's not. So that's really good. It's nice to have him back and provide so much. Again, speed, as I mentioned, and he's really made a big step, I think, from last year to this year. And yeah, it's a big add for the group, no question.
Any idea where he might, or where you think he might suit up in the lineup, where Mark Lamb kind of places him?
Yeah, from my knowledge, I think he's going to play with Andre Becker and Hunter Lang tonight. So that'll be fun, right? Becker and Desagne are two really high, speedy forwards. So they're really good. Hunter Lang's a big fella too. So I like the mix there. From what I know, I think that's what's going to happen. So should be cool to see those three kind of get back at it, and can't wait to see him bring it here tonight.
Now let's preview this Victoria team. You know, in the past, the Cougars have dominated this team, but, you know, they've put together a couple of good performances this year, and not a team to be underestimated.
Yeah, they're 6 games over 500, second in the BC Division, 4th in the Western Conference. So they're under, the helm of James Patrick now. He's a guy that has winning pedigree through his tenure in the Western Hockey League. Went to the final last year with Winnipeg, and really good. And they made some moves at the start of the year. It's really turned around their season. So this team's good. There's no underestimating here. There's no easy opponent in the Western Hockey League. This team's right behind the Cougars, so I think they're ready to go for it.
One final one for you, teddy bear toss. Let's talk a little bit about that. Exciting weekend on Saturday. Maybe give me a goal scorer. Obviously, Ethan Sampson scored the past 2. Won't be the case this year, but goal scorer and maybe what you want to see from the fans this weekend.
Yeah, in terms of goal scorer, there's a lot of good ones. I think Tarek Parasak, though, I think that's a good one. I could see him, bring him on. But again, it's not just teddy bears, obviously. It's a teddy and toque toss, so warm clothing, right? If it's toques or socks, you want everyone to be warm this Christmas, so make sure to get those and throw them on the ice. It's one of the funnest times of the year, and can't wait for it.
Yeah, fun for the community, fun for the players, and you're going to want to be this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Of course, the teddy bear toss going Saturday. That wraps it up here. We'll throw it back to you in the studio, Eddie.
And despite not any players headed to the World Juniors for Team Canada from the Cougars, they will lose 2 very good imports in the coming weeks, as both William Kometz and Andre Becker are off to their respective countries' selection camps. Anthony Correa tells us more now about this very special invite for both players.
It's every kid's dream to suit up for their country. For 2 Prince George Cougars, it's slowly becoming a reality, as both Andre Becker and William Kometz are expected to be off to their country's selection camp for the 2024 World Juniors in Gothenburg, Sweden.
It's the Stanley Cup, sort of say, and so every kid wants to play in that tournament, and both our guys that are going are well deserving.
For Kometz, it's familiar territory, as the 19-year-old Slovakian D-man headed to the tournament last year in Halifax, with the highlight of the tournament being Slovakia upsetting the USA in the round-robin play. Now, the Cougars defenseman looks to build on last year's tournament and continue to get better as a hockey player with no better stage in junior hockey.
It's great every time I get invite from Team Slovakia. This year it's obviously my last year, so I want to put the most in it, and I think we have a really good team this year, and I hope we'll do our best, and I hope we'll make some results in there.
For Andre Becker, he'll look to impress at Czechia's selection camp. He's had an incredible year with the Cougars so far and would love to have the opportunity to head to Sweden and represent his country.
First of all, I hope I will make the team. And if I do, I hope I will play a lot of minutes there and make some success there. And yeah, I'll do my best there.
The tournament kicks off December 26th, and Prince George Cougars playing is yet another reason to watch hockey for fans in Prince George. Anthony Correa, CKPG News.
Moving to the Spruce Kings now, who also have some action this weekend as they travel to Cranbrook to take on the Bucks. Prince George is trying to get back on track after dropping their last 2 games on the road, while also trying to handle a surging Bucks team that's won 8 of their last 10 games. Earlier this year, these 2 teams met at Copar Memorial, with Cranbrook coming out on top with a convincing 4-1 victory. Now, the Spruce Kings have been pretty bad on the road this year. They're 1-10-1-0. I'm no mathematician or anything, but according to my calculations, that's not very good. But they do have a chance to improve that with the 2 games this weekend. Puck drop for both games goes at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. The TSX is up 53 points to close at 20,332. The Dow Jones is up 130 points to close at 36,248. And CN Rail is up 81 cents to close at $160.06.
Good evening again, everyone. We're looking at the satellite map and taking us back from earlier today. So nice to see some clear skies in some areas across our region, including here in Prince George, and some beautiful sunshine. But now a different story. So hopefully you got out while you could today. This is the big system here. This is the next weather maker that is approaching, and we'll jump into the futurecast just to show you what's to come. Today, again, was kind of uneventful. Tonight, not so bad, chance of flurries, but it's more so tomorrow we start to see the bulk of that system over us. So hitting the coast, tracking inland, and as it does, we're going to see snow picking up. So for us, flurries to start, then the snow really intensifying as the day goes on. And we have some windy conditions associated with this system as well. So those southerly winds will be really gusty, up to about 50 kilometers an hour or so through the day. So that could create a situation where there is blowing snow as well. So again, visibility may not be the greatest at certain times throughout the day. So keep that in mind when you're out doing your holiday shopping. 0 is where we will sit. -3 in Fort St. John. We're looking at snow down through the interior, the southern interior, the Okanagan, and more so the rain showers or mixed precipitation along the coast, of course, but higher elevations and certainly through the mountains, they will start to see some accumulation as well. -2 Fort St. James, Mackenzie as well. Colder over through Burns Lake tomorrow, but it's really the snow that you see everywhere we go. And then after that, as I mentioned, and I'll show you on the 7-day, we are looking at some drying and even some sunshine returning for parts of Sunday and Monday. Here's a quick look across the country. -1 in Edmonton through the prairies. It's calm, but it is a little cooler. And then further east, actually, temperatures getting above freezing now through many areas again, which is nice. Some milder air starting to trickle in. And early next week, we'll start to see the sunshine return, as I mentioned. So this is our big map for you. Not a lot in terms of precipitation for early next week, but certainly tomorrow is the day that we will get most of it. So the bulk of the system, more so tomorrow for Burns Lake, 5 to 10 centimeters. But even tonight, the snow should start. -13 overnight tonight. We're looking at sunshine for your Sunday and Monday. And then it gets a little bit milder as well next week. The snow likely won't melt, but we will certainly have some milder temperatures yet again. Mackenzie, -8 with low-lying clouds tonight. You're looking at anywhere from 2 to 4, maybe 5 centimeters of snow tomorrow throughout the day, and this is carrying into the evening as well. And then a bit of a break on Sunday, although not a lot of sunshine. It'll be mostly cloudy skies. McBride, -10 tonight, partly cloudy. We are looking at the snow through the day tomorrow, so periods of snow. And then even Sunday, a little bit unsettled, but more so with the way the freezing level rises a little bit, we'll see a mix of both rain and snow, but it could be quite slippery out there. So just always keeping that in mind as well. +1 for Quesnel, and then you're looking at a drier, not so much sunnier Sunday, but Monday looks sunny. But yes, tomorrow will be snowy, and that's the case for us as well. So not a lot forecasted for accumulation, but 3 to 6 centimeters, maybe a little bit more than that in some areas. 0 is where we'll sit for temperatures. And so yes, the periods of snow and gusty winds, it'll feel very wintry for our Saturday. We get a bit of a break on Sunday, sunnier skies on Monday, but a chance of some clearing through parts of Sunday as well.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Feed your team tonight with a delicious mix and match combo. Chicken, pizza, pasta, or dessert for just $8.99 per item.
With the Para-Nordic World Cup Finals and the Parabiathlon World Championships less than 3 months away, the Caledonia Nordic Ski Club is still looking for volunteers to help everything go smoothly, with Volunteer Chair Vonda Hofford encouraging people to come out and experience an incredible event.
But I'm anticipating we still need about 150 more volunteers, and that's for the Para-Nordics. But we have our test event, which is in January, and we're going to need anywhere from 100 to 125 people for that, so we'll be recruiting for that as well. Otway is very unique with its volunteers. We're a family, and when you come, you join a very elite group. We're very close. We repeat event after event, and it really is a close-knit family. So if you want to sign up for biathlon, go to the Caledonia website, and under events, choose biathlon, and that will take you through for their January event. If you want to just volunteer for the March event, go to Caledonia Championships with an S.com/volunteers, and that takes you right to our site.
Well, as it stands, Shohei Ohtani is yet to sign with an MLB team. X, or Twitter, was going crazy today, tracking flights and spreading rumors. Ohtani Watch was trending all day as well. And so because of that, we're going to show you what the Blue Jays currently have as we feature 3 home runs by 3 Toronto superstars who Shohei Ohtani may or may not be joining. On tonight's CKP3.
Leading off, we have George Springer.
And a high fly ball left center field. And it is off the wall. 2 runs are going to score. It bounces way back over to center. Springer's getting the wave home. And it's an inside the park home run.
This was an exciting moment as he hits an inside the park home run at Tropicana Field. The best leadoff guy in baseball. Batting next, Bo Bichette.
So if he gets a changeup, he got a changeup, and he hit it a long way to left center, and it's gone. And he got all of that one, and all of a sudden the Blue Jays have the lead.
Bo knows blast as he crushes a 460-foot bomb to deep center field. One of the best hitters last year for the Blue Jays. Finally, in the cleanup spot.
In the air to left field. And the wind can't do a thing about this one. A long home run for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to make it 2-0.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. knows how to clean up all right. He hit 26 home runs last year, and that was an off year for him. The Jays have the pieces. Can they put it together? Who knows? In tonight's CKP3.
Hello from the CKPG Today side. Of course, we creep closer to Christmas time, and that means the winter is also going to take a swing for the worst here, I anticipate. Just in time for the holiday season, as it always says. But you can start talking about winter. Slick. Things are slick outside, you know. I'm not talking about the style of people. I'm talking about the sidewalks, the roads. Things are getting a little icy. Well, you might want to do some preventative maintenance to avoid a slip, trip, or fall. We're going to do that today on the show with the YMCA here in Prince George. Plus, it's not very often we get to say a family from Northern BC made it on Family Feud Canada. We're going to talk to the Barr family today on the show. Eddie, over there, I'm going to ask you, if you were on Family Feud, who would you be bringing with you? Is it me? Do I get the call?
That's actually a great idea, Caden. A little CKPG Family Feud team. Boy, would we lose by quite a lot. Okay, it's time for the next edition of the CKPG Festive Photo Contest, which is just running for 5 more days. And tonight's submission is from Nicole, and it's a Christmas wonderland. Love that. This is a bit different than what we've had so far. Love that picture. Thanks very much, Nicole. The prizes are a $4,000 gift certificate from the Prince George Airport and Uniglobe Sunburst travel towards a WestJet nonstop flight, an all-inclusive vacation to Puerto Vallarta. You'll also get a $1,250 prize pack from all our sponsors. All you do is submit your festive photos to ckpgtoday.ca. And that is our show for tonight, folks. Thanks so much for joining us, as always. Your last look tonight is a shot of Highway 16 going through the city. Neat. We did it, folks. It's the weekend. Have yourselves a great weekend, and we will see you Monday.